Whoa, Mitch,
What is it, Ed?
I've built a time machine.
Wait, you're trying to tell me you built a time machine out of a TV show?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent. Hi, this is Ed Dollister,
This is Mitch Halleck.
and welcome to Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. Thanks so much for joining us. This week, we've got a great show, but before we start, thank you so much to all our new subscribers. If you like the show, please hit the subscriber button down below and tell your friends, or get the little bell so you get updates as well when we've got a new show.
Notifications.
That's right. It's really
share
important.
it with all your friends.
That's right.
Hey,
That's right.
there's something for everybody on this show. If you just look at our channel listings, you'll see $6 Million Man, Star Wars, Indiana Jones,
Battlestar
Battlestar,
Galactica.
toys, movie posters,
Yep.
you name it. It's on the Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. So go shop around. You'll
That's
see
right.
a
And
show out there.
that's true. And if it's not something there that you like, you're going, oh, I wish they talk about Fantasy Island, just mention it
Yeah.
in the comments. And, you know, we'd probably love to. I'd love to. I love Fantasy Island, but that's a whole different sort
That's
of,
another episode.
that's a whole nother episode. Today, though, we're talking about a genre that's been around in, movies for years, probably because people have been going back in time to redo it. We're, of course, talking about time travel movies. And the reason is because the imminent release of Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I'm really looking forward to seeing, of course, based on the wonderful Bill and Ted series, which features time travel. Just quickly, were you a fan of the Bill and Ted series? Oh, wow, you're in your TARDIS.
Well, you said we're going back in time, so
Yeah.
I figured I must get a thing. Well, wait,
Well, let's go back to 1989.
Wait a second. We're not doing TV shows, are we?
Well, I've got a list of TV shows, but that's a little bit later on.
I was going to say, I got the time tunnel warmed up for nothing.
Yep. Well, just keep it on low.
What about that? Does that count?
Oh my God.
No, that's a TV show.
You're blowing through all the good stuff in the early part. Hold on.
All
Calm
right,
down.
all right. Yes, we could talk about it. Well, you know what, Ed? Why don't we do our top 10? But if we want to start with Bill and Ted, we'll start off with Bill and Ted real quick. I remember seeing the commercials for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and honestly, they almost put all the good parts in the trailer because they showed Napoleon, they showed Socrates, and
Yep.
put them in the Iron Maiden
Socrates.
crates. But a lot of this stuff was kind of spoiled back in the day when they would show you too much of a trailer. So by the time you saw the movie, you just kind of counted it off in your head and
Yep.
waited for that. And the other thing is, I didn't know who the hell Keanu Reeves was or Alex Winter, because I think they were relatively newcomers at that point on the screen. I know Alex Winter was in Lost Boys and
Yes.
Keanu Reeves did a pile of other movies, but at the time, I don't think they were known for anything. So
No, well, they were in. I knew Alex Winter from Lost Boys, but they were in their early 20s at that stage. Keanu didn't go on to do Speed. I think that was 92.
Oh, that was later on. Yeah, that was where
93 maybe.
Yeah.
And really, this came out in 1989, the year that Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade came out.
And
It was I suppose you call it it was a hit. It was only a low budget movie. It tripled or quadrupled its budget, probably made about $40 million.
pretty respectable enough for a sequel.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. I just liked it. It wasn't like a lot of those gross out comedies or the teen comedies that were either the R-rated comedies. It was pretty family
It had some
friendly.
thought to it. Yeah, it was a smarter teen movie. if you wanna
Yeah.
put it-
And I just liked how it took time travel and sort of made it a little bit more fun. It wasn't so serious.
I remember actually, I went to see it because there was two things in it. George Carlin was in it, who was I was a big George Carlin fan. I saw him in concert a couple times. And Clarence Clemens
Yes.
from Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, the sax player, the big man, was in a movie. And that, I think, was the reason why I went to see it, because I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. And I'm like, oh, my God, the big man's in a movie. Even though he didn't have much of a part,
No.
it was so cool to see him in the movie. But, yeah, It was fun. I didn't know it was 89. I thought it was earlier than that, but
Yeah.
okay.
So it was 89, and then had a really soundtrack. I remember buying as a John Williams fan and a movie soundtrack fan. I rarely bought like compilation soundtracks, with hit music, but I just really dug the soundtrack. I got that, and then in 1991, I think it was
The sequel
Bill and Ted's Bogus
Bogus
Journey,
Journey.
which
Yeah.
Kelly and I watched last night in preparation for this as well. And I think I don't know if I prefer it more, but I think it's really quite funny having William Sadler as Death in there. He is absolutely fantastic.
He's the best part of the movie. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you've got the robot Bill and Ted's. You've got you've got Station who build the.
That's the part that I didn't like because they bordered on Muppets to me, Ed, and you know how I am about Muppets.
I know.
That's why Station was those two little dudes, and then they became one big Station thing, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I saw it in the movie theaters with my then girlfriend, who becomes my wife, and I was a little embarrassed. I thought it was kind of kiddish compared to the first Bill and Ted. I thought they went for more of a younger audience and made it like, I don't know. It almost seemed like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2 when they had Vanilla Ice in it.
Oh, yes.
It was good, but I thought the original was better. But I will give it up for William Sadler. Is it or Sandler?
Yes.
Sadler? Yeah, he's always good. He was in Shawshank Redemption. He was in Iron Man 3. He played the president. Whenever he's in a movie, he's been in
Die Hard 2. He
was in Die Hard 2. That's what I was gonna say. He was the murderer psycho guy in that movie.
He played McGarrett's father in in Hawaii Five-0, the current series that just wrapped up.
He swore he was in a movie where he was a serial killer, and there was a scene where he's like naked getting ready. Was that Die Hard 2? It was almost like a Silence of the Lamb picture.
I can tell you, I won't be putting a picture up of that, but
I just remember that. I'm like,
I do remember that. I do remember, and I'm not sure if that happened in some. It was either in one of the Die Hards or one of the Nicolas Cage films of that time. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I just remember like that's that
with
dude.
And the shadow was on his butt, so you couldn't make it out.
Yeah. I don't know what movie it was, but I do remember him being a murderer, psycho, serial killer, and he was butt naked in that. But anyway.
in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure as Death, he is very funny. And they look at the isn't it the Ingmar Bergman?
When he's playing chess in the classic.
Yes. Where they're playing Battleship, and then they end it with hilarious. So
I was gonna say, what's his bit at the end when they do their Wild Stallion concert? Does he say something like you better something to keep her, but you'll never beat the Reaper?
Oh yeah, whether you're a
lighthouse keeper.
No, whether you're I think a king or a street sweeper, sooner or later you'll dance with the Reaper.
The Grim, yeah.
Which is pretty fun, and with his scythe. So it's great. Yeah. Another great. That's another soundtrack I got. They end with a fantastic Kiss number. God gave rock and roll to you.
Oh, really?
As well.
Oh, so there's a lot of pop songs in there because I never got the soundtracks.
A lot of hard, heavy, sort of, I suppose, like heavy, not necessarily heavy metal or glam rock or hard rock. They had Extreme. They had they had a lot of cameos, and things like that. No, but they reference Iron Maiden, when they go back to in the first one. But it's just a good, fun time travel series.
It is. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Here it opens up in theaters and on demand the same day. So I don't know how that's going to work. I'd rather watch it at home.
Yep.
On demand.
I think I'll be given that cinemas are closed here at the moment. I'll hopefully we'll have access to it here in Australia, and I'll certainly be downloading it, purchasing it to watch because I think it's great fun. So
now the third movie, I could have swore they were going to do this a couple years ago, and it just kept getting pushed back. I mean, I know the COVID situation, but I thought Bill and Ted Part 3 was supposed to come out like last year.
I think it was. I think they were working on it a while. I know Alex Winter was, and then they only made the announcement with Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. It feels like only like about a year ago that we're doing it, and they've had a really quick turn. I mean, I know it's not like a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones movie where there's a lot of, a lot of things you have to do, but it looks really good. I like how they've got. Oh, now what's her the actress from Flight of the Conchords, who is playing Rufus's daughter in it because George Carlin obviously has passed away.
Yeah.
It looks really fun. So
We'll look forward to it. We'll have to do a report. I was going to say, as far as merchandise goes, I've seen a Wild Stallion shirt. I've got a kind of a Stallion shirt, but it's Bruce Springsteen. But I know there's a Bill and Ted comic book out there. I don't have it. There was a Bill and Ted cartoon show as well.
There was, and a live action series that was on Fox. So in the cartoon series, Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves did the voices. But for the TV series, which got axed after 5 episodes.
I didn't even know it existed. So, yeah.
Look it up on YouTube. It is awful.
Oh, really?
It looks awful. So it's like a 30-minute, sort of a sitcom style.
And they're not in it, obviously. So.
No. But they did have the only merchandise I had. I remember they had Bill and Ted figures, action figures that had came out. And they only recently, I think NECA maybe brought out some, and the Rufus
more realistic stuff. Yeah.
Yep. But there was a video game which I had early 90s for the Atari Lynx, a handheld game. So I had that Bill and Ted game, but that's really about it. There wasn't a lot of merchandise per se. So, but it was it's a cult. I'd sort of call it a bit of a cult movie. So
we'll talk about movies and time travel. There's a lot of them. So I don't know. Why don't we kick things off? And what's your top 5 time travel movies?
So, I'll just start with my 5. Number 5 was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure / Bogus Journey, because I really enjoyed that. So we sort of spoken about that. And the time travel is not really complicated. They say, hey, when we win, let's put a key under this rock. Here it is. I think that's kind of, whereas from the reviews of Tenet that I've been reading today, whether that's a time travel movie or not, I don't know. But the reviews are, it's good, but you need to see it twice to understand it. And sort of you go, well, sometimes I just want to go in and not think too much.
I know, honestly, I got to tell you, my one problem, I love time travel movies, one of my favorite genres, but they always give me a headache when I start to think about it. And it even happened with the Avengers, because if somebody goes back in time and they change this, then they change the future, but then it's a different reality. And then there's, it just splinters off into different alternate parallel dimension things. And it's too much.
I know. Simple. Isn't it funny? In every time travel movie, they need to have someone going, oh, but isn't this like Back to the Future? No, it's not because if you've got and they have to draw a diagram with a schmuck in the movie to, which is really the audience, trying to explain it. But anyway, so what's your number 5?
I'm going to start off with a classic here, Ed. Look at that. The Time Machine. Rod Taylor, one of your Australian great actors.
Yes, that's my number 4, actually. So
I jumped the gun. Well, what?
That's good.
No, we could do 2 of them. I'm going to go with the classic by George Pal, where we have H.G. Wells building a time machine, which is so cool looking. It looks like Santa's sleigh, actually. And it's got that big round thing in the back, and he goes forward, he puts levers. It's not like the TARDIS. But he ends up 800,000 years into the future, and he meets the Morlocks, their underground group with the glowing eyes and everything. It's just really well done, very imaginative. But I was going to say, when you said the time machine, you maybe could think of the recent version.
Film, yes, with I'd like to say my buddy Guy Pearce. There's a picture of me with Guy Pearce. I'll put it up right now. We acted. We're not really buddies.
Guy Pearce, who technically
we're like this. Whereas that's Guy Pearce and that's me over here. So that's
no, but I'm saying Guy Pearce, Small World, Iron Man 3 with William Sadler. It's all connected.
Yeah. So I wasn't a big fan of now was that 2007 the remake of The Time Machine?
Yeah,
I think it was. Yes, starring Guy Pearce, Jeremy Irons as the leader of the Morlocks. It also had Orlando Jones, I think, as the hologram in the library. I think it had some great effects. The shot of the moon being destroyed by something and causing the Earth to, throw it into why the Morlocks existed. It was kind of fun. It was actually directed by H.G. Wells. Am I going to say grandson?
Maybe grandson, because he died in the early 30s or 40s.
Yes.
Died before World War II. I know that.
So it was kind of fun, but I think a staple on Sunday afternoon television here in Australia was the Time Machine and was Journey to the Center of the Earth with James Mason. And I love the Time Machine. The effects are fantastic. It was great to see. Who was from Mr. Ed?
Oh, yeah.
Alan
Ladd. It's on the poster.
If I can Alan Ladd. Alan Young.
It says right there, Alan Young, and
who of course was Scrooge McDuck as well. Yvette Lemieux.
Yeah, there you go. Yvette Lemieux.
But I remember going, oh, that's from Mr. Ed. Wilbur. That's right. But I really enjoyed that version of the Time Machine. I thought it was great, and it's
I don't know where. I haven't seen it in years. I got to be honest, I haven't seen it in about 20, 30 years, but I'm sure it's out there. Maybe it's cleaned up and restored and all that fun stuff. So that was my number 5. I jumped the gun. Now I'm going to throw it back to you then.
All right. So my number, so I'm up to 3. My number 3 is Terminator, the original Terminator. I know a lot of people didn't like Terminator Genesis.
That's the one with Doctor Who, right?
Also, Jai Courtney, the Australian actor, who's Captain Boomerang, who played Kyle Reese in it. I liked how they went back to the first movie, and they recreated those scenes. And I thought that was kind of fun.
Wasn't the actress from is Emilia Clarke?
Yes, Emily? It is. Yeah, from Game of Thrones and Solo. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know which one you're talking about, because there's been a couple. I'm like, wait, which one was that one? Yeah.
I just thought it was,
That's with young Arnold in it, right? At the end.
Yes.
Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah.
It flopped, but I thought it was good fun.
A lot of them did. Terminator 2 was, I think, the most successful. But no, they're always good. That's a time travel movie that works because you don't have to think about it too much. They stop the thing, they alter the future, but they keep coming back and like whatever.
What's your number 3 or 4? 3.
Well, Back to the Future, Ed. Come on now. That's the greatest, I guess, trilogy ever made about time travel.
That's my number 1. That's my number 1. So
we're going to have a short time. We're going to travel back in time. But the reason why is it was funny. It was creative. They played with time in all different ways, kind of like you just said with Bill and Ted. But this was before Bill and Ted. This came out, I'm going to say
85.
85? I was going to say 87, but 85. And then the sequel came out, and then the part 3 came out 6 months later, because I remember seeing it, and then they said, part 3.
Yes, that's right.
To be concluded. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. So Back to the Future 2 came out in 1989, and then Back to the Future 3 in
89 was a good year for movies then, huh?
It was.
Batman, Indiana Jones, you name it, it got it.
Yep.
What I was going to tell you about Back to the Future is not only did Marty McFly by Michael J. Fox, he did a great performance, but Christopher Lloyd, I think everybody in that movie is like top notch. There's not one lame performance. Even Mark McClure, our friend Jimmy Olsen, is in it as the brother, and I can't think of the actress's name.
Wendy Jo Sperber.
Yeah, she passed away, but she was fun. She was in 1941. She was on Bosom Buddies.
Yes.
She played the older sister, but no, that was just a cool movie. But I got to tell you, when I saw it originally, I don't think it ended with "to be continued." When I saw it in the theaters, I think that was added afterwards, and they came up with.
Now, I remember reading somewhere that it was, I think Bob Gale said in an interview that he was surprised to see it. Now, I don't know if they released it like that on the VHS copy or whether it was done at the cinema, but it was sort of done after the fact, Yeah,
because I don't remember seeing like, we'll see you next time, or, to be continued. And then when I saw it, maybe it was on VHS. I'm like, I don't remember that. So.
Yeah, I just love it. I actually have just on my list at number 1 is Back to the Future 1 and 2. I'm not as big a fan of number 3. Only, I don't know, maybe I just don't like Westerns.
I like 3 better than I like 2 because I thought 2 was kind of dark,
I just
Yeah.
like two. Again, maybe it's like because I like Terminator Genesis, is where they go
Yeah.
back into the first Terminator. Into the that would be
No, I
interesting.
was gonna say number 3 had Mary Steenburgen, and
Yes.
they had the train thing at the end, and they have the big bridge. You know, there was cool aspects to it, but it was
Oh, I
nice.
liked it, but I just felt, you know, and the ZZ Top cameo was kind of funny, and him inventing the frisbees, with the pie tins and things like. I just thought two was
Created in New Haven, Connecticut, by the way.
well. There you go,
The
fantastic.
Frisbee Pie Plate Company. Let's get real here. Okay, but
sorry.
go on.
But I just like how Back to the Future Part 2, it was back in 85, then it went back into went back to 2015, and then I think because I like the time hopping aspects of it, I think a little bit more than just the 1990 Part 3.
Now,
but that's just me.
Back to the Future spin-offs. I know there was a cartoon. I know that there was never a TV show. There was a video game that was like a big deal a couple years ago. I think came out.
A Facebook friend of mine does the voice of Marty McFly in that.
Oh, okay. And I was going to say, as far as merchandise goes, if we want to talk real quick, I have a Lego DeLorean I put together years ago. And you can modify it because it could be from Part 2, and then Part 3, it has like the wagon thing. And the only other merchandise I have is a hoverboard, not a real size one, but a little tiny Mattel hoverboard. It looks like it's floating, trust me.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't. Hot Toys brought out a fantastic Michael J. Fox, Marty McFly 12-inch figure. They also brought out, to scale to that figure, a DeLorean.
Wow, that's cool.
Which looks amazing. The only thing I've got here is this is about it, which is my little Hot Wheels DeLorean. Of course, I've got it on Blu-ray. They've just announced that it is coming out. They're doing a box set on 4K, which is fantastic, which is coming out soon. I think I've got a feeling in November, given that the film's set in November, you know, sort of. So,
you ever see any of the early footage with Eric Stoltz and Marty McFly?
I've seen as much as that has been online.
I've seen stuff with no audio for some odd reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, he was the original Marty McFly, and they just let him go. It just wasn't working out for some reason. And I think he was dating Leah Thompson.
Okay.
That was like an awkward moment.
I bet.
You know, your boyfriend's not coming back. Like, oh, okay. But anyway, I don't know. There's a bunch of stories. But yeah, Back to the Future. There's rumor that there's going to be a fourth one. But I met Bob Gale a couple years ago, one of the writers. He's like, nah, we don't want to do a fourth one. Just look how bad the Crystal Skull came out with Indiana Jones. I'm like, hey, enough said, buddy. And we just let it go. But
well, that's pretty rich of him saying that, given that the original ending of Back to the Future with the fridge, and the nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Gale, I call you out on that. So,
oh wow, you should have been there then, Ed. You should have been.
I probably would have just been. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And please sign my Blu-ray.
I've stole two of yours, so go with the next one. Hopefully, I don't have yours.
So my last one. That's my last one, because I think we've done my top. Well, again, it's sort of not in any order. Is the Final Countdown? No, it's not the Final Countdown with Kirk Douglas. It is Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Movie?
No, it's not that movie, but it's Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. Yeah,
that movie, Ed?
That movie.
Oh well, that's on my list as well, Ed. But go ahead. Why do you like Star Trek?
I just like it. I didn't mind Star Trek 3. Love Star Trek 2. I actually quite liked Star Trek the Motion Picture, but that's, you know, I like a slow burn of a movie.
Just
go. Sorry. Anyway,
just get your stuff, and I don't care if you're home. Just get out.
But what I really enjoyed about I think it's what works well with any time travel movie, even if you think about the Unidentified Flying Oddball, where you've got Don Knotts going into, or a Connecticut
Yankee and King Arthur's
Court. There you go. That could describe you, couldn't it?
Pretty much every day.
So, it's about that fish out of water experience. And I quite liked seeing the crew of the Enterprise in 1984 San Francisco, I thought was
Yeah.
really great. And I still love that's one scene where you got Scotty trying to talk into the computer, going computer, and
Yeah.
and
how great.
yeah, that's right. And but how accurate, you know, how we're talking to our devices and everything like that. I just felt that had a really good. The only thing I didn't like about that film about Start with is when the whale ships coming towards Federation headquarters, and there's a scene where it like blows out the windows or something like that.
Yeah,
They use that shot twice in the same movie.
Yeah, I know. I can see it too. When he's like there, and he's pointing to when the ship comes. Sarek sees the Enterprise or the bird of prey coming into the water.
Something like that. So
No. You're right. No, the window does explode early on.
Yes, and then they use it
time travel, and then when it comes back, they show the same scene again. But that's when they're coming through. Yeah, but I kind of let it go.
Really, that was the only thing that bugged me. But I quite and you know Spock with his use of colorful metaphors and everything
he took
like
too much,
that.
LDS in the '60s. That was one.
That's right. I just really liked it. It's just fun. It's and I enjoy how it sort of made sense. You know, slingshotting around the sun. Yeah, why not?
Oh yeah, it makes sense. Because that's how they did it in the old TV show.
Yeah.
They did the slingshot when they didn't have the access to the Guardian of Forever.
That's right.
Yeah, because
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like there, Mitch. It looks a little.
What are you talking about, Ed?
I don't know. It looks
like
you.
Forever.
Oh, there you go. All right, good.
All right, let's like easy, and it's a rated PG show. Okay. All right, but okay.
I don't know. I feel like you should be doing that. Breathe.
I like the same. I'm going home again. The same Star Trek. Reasons why you did it's fun. They go back, the whole fish out of water type thing. And that brings me to my next one, which was written by the same person who wrote Star Trek 4, Nicholas Meyer.
Yes.
Who also wrote Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. But he did a fantastic movie that I caught once on local TV. I never saw in the theaters. And it's about H.G. Wells, the writer of The Time Machine and all the other things we talked about earlier, Journey to the Moon, you know, H.G. Wells. He invents a time machine, but it's stolen by Jack the Ripper. And Jack the Ripper goes to San Francisco in the early 80s.
Yes.
And he's on a killing spree. And then he goes in time. Malcolm McDowell plays H.G. Wells. And David Warner is fantastic. He's Jack the Ripper. And he's trying to stop him. And then he meets, of course, Mary Steenburgen, who in real life was married to Malcolm McDowell at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Then she married Ted Danson, but that's another story. But no, they were husband and wife. Great movie, and it's got a lot of the same jokes that you see in Star Trek 4 because it's that fish out of water.
Yes.
When H.G. Wells goes to a McDonald's, he calls it McDougal's. And I always remember, now I know how to say French fries in French. It's pommes frites.
Yes.
Because he's amazed when he sees a French fry. He's like, ooh, pommes frites. And I don't know. I think it's just a great movie. It's thrilling. It's exciting. You've got this whole murder mystery going on, and then it's just badass. They never made a sequel to it, and I don't know if it did well. I don't think it did well in the theaters, but
I remember I've caught it on like I think I maybe rented it, or I did see it. I do remember it. The connection between because David Warner's been a Star Trek. Malcolm McDowell's been a Star Trek. Actor.
He was the guy that killed Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Dr. Soren.
Soren. That's right.
Soren. That's it.
Soren. That's it. Yeah. So, so that's a good flick, and I don't know whether it's on Netflix or whatever, but it's certainly worth checking out. I've got some honorable mentions, if that's all right.
Well, no, I've got honorable mentions, and then there's a big one at the end too. This one I have to throw up for honorable mention because you threw it out there.
Yeah.
My dad took me to see this, and he was so excited because we saw the commercials for the USS Nimitz, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier from nowadays. This is like 1980, 81, this movie came out. Travels back to Pearl Harbor days before, or maybe the day of, the attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. And the whole premise is so cool that you have this nuclear-powered aircraft carrier with all the modern technology and fighter jets versus the Japanese invading forces there, or attacking forces. But it doesn't work. It's one of the biggest letdowns in movie history because you're all excited and you don't know what's going to happen. You got Martin Sheen in it. You got, he just passed away. He lived here in Connecticut.
Kirk Douglas, not Kirk Douglas.
Brian Dennehy.
Yep.
Kirk Douglas. Yeah, it's Kirk Douglas. Yeah.
Yeah.
All this happens, and then at the last second they pull back because obviously they don't change history. And you don't even get to see a good dogfight or anything in the whole movie, but I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's James Ferrantino is in it.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. It's funny because his wife lives right up the street here.
Deborah there you
Ferrantino.
go.
That's another story. But anyway, that to me is an honorable mention for the biggest setup and the biggest disappointment. Boom. The final count.
Yeah, I had that on my honorable mentions list. I had Frequency with Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid, which is sort of that plays with time travel. It's sort of, someone talking back through time, which is quite good. I liked Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve.
Oh, I thought for sure that would have been your number one.
So it's on I don't know why. I never was big into that.
I saw it once. It's become a classic. I know it's got a cult following, but it was like, okay.
I also had the Trances series with Tim Thomerson as Jack Death. I remember on the poster for Trances is that Jack Death is back and he hasn't even been here before. I thought that's a series. Yeah, it's a low budget one, and I was going to put it in my proper list, but it's not really a time travel thing. But John Carter, because he uses time to in different ways in that film, and again, I love that movie to death. So that's my list. I've got
someone mentioned John Carter to me today, and I was like, really, John Carter? Then I'm like, I could see that, but to me, I think of it more of a, Mars.
Yeah, it's got an element of it. What about? Do you have any honorable mentions?
There was Time Rider with Fred Ward, which is there's a lot of bad time travel movies.
Yeah,
okay?
Time Cop with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Time Rider. I guess Groundhog Day counts as a time travel movie.
Oh, I never even thought of that. Yep.
There's Looper, which is Joe Gordon-Levitt going back to be. He's actually Bruce Willis.
Yes.
And he's stuck in time. 12 Monkeys is a time travel movie.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Time Bandits. I mean, these are all to varying degrees different time travel movies, but I gotta say, Ed, the biggest one on my list, my number one time travel picture of all time is You Damn Dirty Apes, Ed. Planet of the Apes. Because that is a time travel movie a couple ways, if you think about it. They're in a rocket ship. They go, spoiler alert for a 50-something-year-old movie, he goes into the future.
Yep.
And the Earth has been transformed and populated by apes.
Yep.
But then in the third movie, the apes go back in time to early 90s, I think, because that's when the story takes place. Right? It's early. I can't remember the timeline. Maybe the early 70s. I actually saw that with my family in the drive-in theater. Early 70s, I think 72 maybe. The Escape from the Planet of the Apes. And I just think that's a great time travel movie. It's got Rod Serling from The Twilight Zone wrote the script. He's the one that came up with the famous ending with the
Statue of Liberty, yes.
In it. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that gets you thinking as a kid. Because, I mean, I saw it on TV and was just blown away with the whole idea that the future is going to de-evolve and go back into a primitive society. And then when you find out there was a nuclear war, all those things that you were worried about just come into play. So that was my my big time travel thing.
I think that's a good one. I sort of don't. Well, for me, I wouldn't necessarily think of that necessarily as a time travel movie, but you're absolutely right. It is. There's been a lot of also good just TV shows with regards to time traveling. You can't. Doctor Who, of course, which is the
Quantum Leap, Doctor Who.
I've got the Time Tunnel. I've got two favorites: Travelers, which
Travelers. I was going to say, with John Eric Hudson.
Yeah, and Patrick Gilmore, friend of the IndyCast.
That's right. Who's on that?
Yeah, so which is great. Hi, Patrick, if you're watching.
I was going to. You know what's a favorite toy of mine that you will never think of when it comes to time travel? I had it as a kid. It was from the Mego Corporation. It was the Time Traveler. Do you remember these? See, in your
Oh,
area, they were changed. They were
no,
different name. They
so
weren't
no,
called
they
Micronauts.
were Micronauts, and I love Micronauts, but I
Yeah.
never got any. I
Really?
don't know. I don't know why. I think they were a bit expensive when and
Oh.
I was into my Star Wars toys, so I never
Uh-huh.
got them. And I love them because they came in the sarcophagus
Yeah, yeah,
case,
yeah, yeah.
and they were the huge, and you could put them together. And I've been looking at some on eBay, and they're just going for hundreds and hundreds of
Oh, were they
dollars.
really? Oh, they were like the cheap toys when I was a kid. They were
Really?
all the translucent. Oh yeah, they were this translucent plastic. They were
Yeah, they're
very
based on the
flimsy.
Japanese toy. Yeah.
Yeah, their hands came off. They were interchangeable. That was the thing. Like you could swap out
Yeah.
the heads, and there's a whole story. And then there was a comic book series that was done
Yes.
by Marvel, which was very popular. And like, it's one of my favorite comic books of all time. The artwork was by Michael Golden, and the art or the writing was by a guy named Bill Mantlo. But the reason why the Time Traveler was my favorite toy
Yeah.
is I had it, and I used to take the garden hose, and there was a nozzle on it, and
Yes.
you could set the settings on the nozzle depending on how much water pressure you have, like a sprinkler or whatever, but you could make it like a jet. And I'd walk around the backyard after I'd watched my Buster Crab, Buck Rogers on the local station and Flash Gordon, and I'd go out in the yard and I'd pull the trigger on the garden hose nozzle and it
Yep.
would shoot out kind of like a laser gun. And I remember like doing target practice in the backyard. Well, my dad hated this, but if you used to take the water and put it close to the ground and press the trigger, it would start burrowing a hole from the water into the ground. It'd make all
Yep.
these big holes in the backyard, but it was so cool. It looked like it was a laser burning in and mud would go flying. So I took the blue, there's right there, the blue
Yeah.
one, my Time Traveler. I put him in the ground. I aimed the water at him, point blank range. I pulled the trigger on the garden nozzle, blasted him. Ed, I never found him again. I looked all over the yard. I looked in the mud puddle. I don't know where he went. The water hit him. Never saw him again. And it bothered me to this day. I know there's an archaeologist going to dig up my old house thousands of years from now and find the Time Traveler and think that we worship him as a god. But I was always like, maybe he went back in time
Maybe
and
he
somehow
did.
I sent him there. So the Time Traveler gets my honorable mention on our time travel show as the only thing ever to be a time traveling toy. It's
Yes.
in the name, Ed. The Time
The
Traveler.
time traveler. I like that. And
Yeah.
I should also say a big shout out to my all-time favorite show, Legends of Tomorrow, DC's Legends
Oh
of Tomorrow,
yeah.
which uses time travel in such a fun
Mhm.
way. If you haven't got on board, we've got last week DC Fandom had some panels with the guys. It's a great TV show if you're
It's a
wanting
fun
a
show.
fun.
Again, they don't take time travel as serious as some
Yeah,
shows. So
that's
why.
right. So that's it. And that reminds me, I had buried in my parents' house somewhere the Death Squad commander from Star Wars. And do you think I could find that ever again? Maybe they hooked up. Maybe the time traveler and my Death Squad commander, they're traveling the universe like via the time tunnel, which is
You know,
another great.
that's a good story idea right there. Call Pixar right now. It's
Yeah.
like Toy Story, but it's Star Wars too. It's about these toys that disappear from kids
Yep.
and we never find them, but it turns out to be they're sucked into another dimension where they're fighting attacking aliens. So it's like the toys you loved are being the saviors of tomorrow. I like that, Ed.
I like that. Copyright Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. That's it.
So that's
All right.
it.
Well, so that's it. That's it for our look at sort of a brief look at time travel. Lots of stuff out there. Do a Google
We're
search.
kind of like time travelers, Ed. We do this every week on
We do.
or every episode.
And you can watch this at some. You might be watching this at some point in the future. Who knows? When
What's the weather like there?
that's right. When apes are ruling the world. Who knows?
Have they cured COVID yet?
I hope
Blink
so.
once for yes. Hey, don't forget, if you are in the future and I'm not here because I've eaten the Batman cereal from 1989 because we had 250 subscribers,
Yep.
let me know how I turn out.
That's
Remember, 250 people watch this show and subscribe to it.
Yep.
I will eat this time-traveling cereal.
I did my bit by eating my Kingdom of the Crystal Skull cereal, and I survived. So I'm sure Mitch will as well. If you enjoyed the show, again, please subscribe, share it, and tell your friends if you like the show. And don't forget to comment. We read all the comments, and Also, if you've got an idea for a topic that you'd like us to talk about, then just put it in the comments below. That'd be awesome.
All right, I'm going to kick the TARDIS. Oh, sorry. Looks like my colonoscopy all over again. I mean,
well, there's your problem. So,
all right, let me go fire up the TARDIS, Ed, and we'll get out of here and see.
all right.
But the next time we're going to go back in time and look at another TV, movie, toy, you name it. It's all here.
It is.
Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure.
That's right. This is signing off. Ed Dollister.
And Mitchell A.S. Halleck, Esquire.
And we will see you excellently next episode. Take care, and thanks for watching.
Bye.